The night we stayed at the Punderson Manor Hotel. Inside it was full of guests, living and perhaps otherwise.
There's people that have not gone away.
That's just like a dark vibe here, I guess.
Guests often complain of a woman laughing or children playing in the halls late at night, although none are registered.
Like the one day I thought I heard like a baby.
Last week we had some guests who complained about a party above them, keeping them up all night. The funny thing about it was there's no room above them.
Lights go on and off. Heavy doors swing open on their own.
You'd hear footsteps, whispering, noises.
3 employees working very late at night decided to go into the kitchen for some coffee. They were stopped short by the side of a man hanging. Parts of his body were still twitching.
The man looked like a lumberjack, like he was suspended by the neck in a noose, hanging from the rafter down in the lodge.
Across the lake there's a fire, the Wales Hotel. So I guess like children died there and I don't know how many people.
There was a big hotel fire over there and some children perished in the fire. And those supposedly are the ghost children that are seen in here.
A haunted hotel can sometimes offer travelers much more than a night's stay. But not all guests are told the stories behind the ghosts. Those who learn the legends and dare to stay can find themselves in a room with a disturbing past. Some people avoid haunted houses and hotels, while others are drawn to them. Those in the latter group will find plenty of eerie happenings at the Punderson Manor State Park Lodge in Northeast Ohio's Punderson State Park. It doesn't need to be Halloween or even a dark and stormy night to experience the paranormal activity.
It's just like a dark vibe here, I guess.
Like I'll go away and I'll turn off the light and I'll come back like later that night and it'll be back on again.
From shadow figures being seen in the halls to an apparition of a man hanging from the rafters in the lounge, there is no shortage of unexplainable paranormal phenomena happening at Punderson Manor.
The reason why it's called Punderson Lake, it was before they built the house here. The Pundersons owned the lake. They sold it, I believe. That's how the story goes. And the Clevelands owned it. It switched hands over the years.
After Lemuel Punderson's death, his family sold it to W.B. Cleveland, whose heirs sold it to Detroit millionaire Carl Long in 1929. By the 1950s, the building would eventually end up in the hands of the state of Ohio.
The state owns the park, the building, the cabins. They turned into a tourist attraction.
The state finally completed construction of the mansion in 1956, transforming it into a resort with both lodging and dining facilities. It added 26 two-bedroom cabins, and by the 1970s, it became a popular getaway for Clevelanders and other travelers. It was around this time that resort and park employees began reporting strange occurrences.
It was about 9 o'clock at the front desk. So I had something like literally scream in my face, like really high pitched and like just not human-like kind of. Yeah, I got really freaked out. I was actually on a video call with my friend and he actually heard the scream and he saw like a black shadow go across the back of me. Yeah, he like thought my phone was falling because all he saw was like black in the background. So that was really creepy. I almost cried, and then I like spent the rest of my shift outside pretty much.
I was kind of skeptical about ghosts and stuff until I started working here. I didn't know anything about Punderson Manor. I didn't even know there was a manor back here when I first lived out here. For like the first couple of weeks, you'd hear footsteps, whispering, noises. It was just spring, so there was like nobody here.
During one of Matt's very first experiences, he was so spooked he had to call the police.
There was nobody on either side of this building. Like, there's not supposed to be anybody up on the second floor. And directly above my head, it was like heavy footsteps, just back and forth, twice. And I look up and I'm just like, there's really somebody up there. I'd not just mishear that. There's not supposed to be anyone in that room. So I can go up there and risk someone actually being in that room and being alone with them, or I can call the police and we can both go up there. And he, does his search. He looks around, opens all the closets and stuff, and there's nobody. All the windows are locked, the door is locked. He felt like there was something off about the house too, like he's being watched.
A lot of the employees that are hired at Punderson don't end up sticking around too long.
A lot of waitresses come and go just because they're like a lot of college kids or whatnot. The one lady, she booked it out of here because she was like that afraid. She's like, yeah, I'm not gonna work here anymore. But she had only been working here a couple weeks, and I guess one of the windows opened in the dining room just on its own. And I've heard people with these windows as well, it'll just open.
At Punderson Manor, it's not unusual to get phone calls from rooms that are unoccupied.
Just like last week, I had 5 or 6 calls in one night from room 236. It's gotten to the point where I just pick up the phone and just slam it back down if it says 236.
I don't know if it's our phone lines or what, but 236 will always call, like, it's every once in a while, it'll call down to the front desk and no one's in the room. And then the one time we walked up and the phone was not even plugged in.
Some believe the manor may be haunted by the spirits of several young children who perished during a fire at the Wales Hotel in 1885, directly across the lake from the present-day Punderson Manor.
Across the lake there's a fire because there's a hole, the Wales Hotel. So I guess like children died there and I don't know how many people. But that was like, I believe where the campgrounds is now.
There was a big hotel fire over there, and some children perished in the fire. And those supposedly are the ghost children that are seen in here.
Like the one day I thought I heard like a baby, but it could have been like one of the guests down the hall or whatnot.
Some like shadow was behind me and I hear a woman's voice say, "Hey!" And I turn around and there's nobody.
In the early 1990s, News 5 Cleveland visited Punderson Manor and made a segment with the employees and volunteers, talking about the history and creepy stories surrounding the building.
It really was a dark and stormy night, the night we stayed at the Punderson Manor Hotel. Inside it was full of guests, living and perhaps otherwise.
Last week we had some guests who complained about a party above them, keeping them up all night. The funny thing about it was there's no room above them.
Manager Patrick Zarni has never personally experienced the strange happenings, but knows that most of his employees have. Robert Vanderveld spent 5 years researching Punderson and found it to be rich in close encounters.
There was a big hotel fire over there, and some children perished in the fire. And those supposedly are the ghost children that are seen in here.
Guests often complain of a woman laughing or children playing in the halls late at night, although none are registered. By far the best stories come from employees who are here nightly. Lights go on and off. Heavy doors swing open on their own. Footsteps, voices. Maids are so frightened they will only clean this room in pairs. As soon as they turn their backs after making the bedclothes are crumpled as though someone is sitting there. This used to be an employee lounge where one night clerk awoke from a nap to find a bearded man at the foot of the bed.
And she just kicked at it, and her foot went right through it. Then the figure walked right through the wall.
A Civil War-era woman has been sighted several times in the dining room. She's always startled to be found out and rushes out of the room or evaporates.
One of the more frightening sightings happened in here. 3 employees working very late at night decided to go into the kitchen for some coffee. They never made it. They were stopped short by the sight of a man hanging. Parts of his body were still twitching. They sat down and they watched him for 3 hours until the light of dawn, when the image faded.
The night crew we talked with say not a week goes by without an incident. Never harmful, just mischievous. They say it's just Pundy acting up. And they go on about their jobs, taking the spiritual guests as much in stride as the paying ones. Rebecca Shaw, Eyewitness News.
It was like one of the ladies saw a man that looked like a lumberjack, like he was suspended by the neck and a noose hanging from the rafter down in the lodge. And she said that she didn't know if it was real or not. I mean, she obviously knew it was not real.
Megan's seen like a black shadow. She doesn't like to talk about it though. She's like seen that up in the parlor room, and I feel like that's like the same thing that happened with me, but I didn't see it. But like I was full chills. I had goosebumps on my cheeks.
Among the many spirits of children, some believe Lemuel Punderson himself may be haunting the manor.
Lemuel Punderson, I think he's one of the spirits here because the one lady, she was doing a recording and he said his name. And then the other time there was another paranormal investigator and he let me listen back to the video or the recording, and it was like, hey, in a guy's voice, like whisper.
Perhaps Lemuel Punderson's spirit will forever remain at the hotel. Punderson Manor continues to be a hotspot for paranormal activity, and some say it might be the most haunted hotel in all of Ohio.